Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. I was listening to some Young Walnut. If you're under the age of 18, you don't want to listen to this podcast. Go ahead and start the episode.
Oh,
we are synced like the Titanic.
I don't think that's how they use the word sink in the Titanic, but sure.
I feel like they didn't use the word sync. They used the word blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I don't even think it was... Oh, I just spiked. I spiked like a motherfucker just now.
See, now that you can see the audio, it's kind of hard for you to, like, focus, isn't it?
Nah, I look at the audio when we record, usually. I try to, at least, unless you're, having the computer turned it. No, you have the computer usually turned a certain way, and I can't see it. Other than that, I can see it usually.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't realize, we are currently in our self-isolated things, and we're now recording from a distance.
Bryce is. I'm not. I went outside today and went over someone's house today, and then I came back here.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that, man.
Because I'm not afraid. I'll be fine.
All right.
But I say we shouldn't stick on that subject. Yeah. I
feel like a lot of people are talking about that right now.
Yeah, I know.
Because of things So I'm like, why don't we just talk about some other stuff then? Like, hey, Derek. Oh, I didn't introduce the podcast. Wow, it's been a while since we recorded.
Exactly. This is, not only has this is the longest period, this is going to be the shortest period in between recording to release. Because recording to release... It's
been like 2-3 weeks since we recorded.
Exactly.
It's been a bit.
And this
hey guys,
recorded, it's Wednesday. This is coming out Friday. So everything will be up to date finally.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Did you hear about this? It's a podcast about stories. I'm Bryce.
I'm in my house.
And as I said, this is a podcast about stories. We're not reporters. We're not historians. We're just two guys who like to tell stories. So sometimes we get things wrong, and that's okay. It's a little different from this one because I can't actually see you.
Yeah,
but it's
don't everybody who's listening, don't expect a long one today. This will be a very experimental short episode.
I don't know. I have a pretty good length story to cover.
Oh yeah,
fun to talk about.
But if we speed through it, all my jokes involve a visual look. I need to look when I do my jokes. All right. Do you want to start?
So
with
you
the
guys
first
gotta
one?
like. It's okay to interrupt me, and I'll stop talking so you can make your jokes.
Nah, that defeats the purpose. I need to speak.
How does that
over
defeat the
you.
purpose?
I need to speak over you as I do my jokes.
Don't worry. How I'm going to edit this is probably going to be overtop me anyways.
Yeah, maybe not. You might want to lower me down. I keep spiking a little. I need to
see. I knew it as soon as you have like a thing to look at, which is the moving bar.
Yep.
It's gonna look. You're gonna feel like you're spiking a lot, but you're not actually spiking that much.
I am because it went all the way past 6, so I know it's getting there. It's getting close at least.
It's okay to go over past 6. It's just like your goal is to end up talking around between 12 and 6.
12 and 6.
Yeah, between 18 and 6 are where you want to generally stay.
That's cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yo.
Anyways. Hey, Derek.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still messing with this bar.
Hey, Derek. Did you hear about this?
I can't
Did you hear about Did you hear about the Emperor of the United States?
Oh, you found my biography?
If you were in like a place of very large power, I don't know how you would handle it.
I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be the person, you know how they have like stories of kings where it's like, he doesn't do anything, he just stays in his castle. That'd be me. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay here. Let you guys figure out what you're gonna do by yourselves.
Yeah, his entire like history of what he does isn't much, but he just gets better and better Wi-Fi. Him pushing the Wi-Fi forward is insane.
So we had an emperor, you said at some point?
Yeah, the Emperor of the United States. a quick shout out to the YouTube channel Austin McConnell, who I watched his stuff and I made me interested about the story, and I learned a lot from his, and then went on to do more research on it. So Joshua Abraham Norton was born in Kent, England on February 4th, 1818. He moved with his parents to South Africa when Norton was still very young. He lived there with his parents until their death, when he moved to San Francisco in 1849. In 52, using the money inherited from his wealthy merchant father, Norton saw an opportunity when a famine-ridden China placed an export ban on rice. The cost of rice had risen from 4 cents a pound to 36 cents a pound.
Shit.
Yeah, it skyrocketed.
That's very...
So, when he heard word of a ship carrying Peruvian rice was coming in, he attempted to corner the market and bought an entire shipment for $25,000.
Is that American?
It's $25,000 U.S. money.
Shit.
I want to remind you, this is 1852.
That's a lot of money even nowadays, let alone 1852.
Yeah. He had, at the time, I've got the correct conversion rate, but he had approximately $1.1 million when he moved here.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he had a good chunk of change, and he just spent just a huge portion of it on just one ship, because he bought it for ended up being about 12 cents a pound, and they were selling for 36 cents a pound, so he saw that's about double or over that what he paid for it.
You know what just reminded me of, Bryce?
What?
I was at Walmart the other day, and there was a lady. You know how people used to sit outside of stores and ask for change when you go out of them, like homeless people and stuff like that, like beggars?
Yeah.
She was in the store walking around asking everybody for a quarter, specifically quarters. And that made me, I don't know, that made me laugh though, because I'm like, yeah, here you go, hon. I thought I did like a good deed, like, oh, that old lady needed a quarter. She goes to the next person, do you have a quarter? Do you have a quarter? She's going down. I imagine she walked out with at least $7 that day. Just all the quarters.
She probably walked outside, went to like the automatic horse, and just rode it for a while. I mean, did you ever used to ride like the those rides just in the outside of stores?
I've never seen one outside of the stores. There was ones like those in the mall where like a little merry-go-round type deals, but it's like a rocket ship and a race car and shit like that. Yeah. So those, yeah, I've never actually seen one outside of a store. That's like always like a trope in TV for me.
Yeah, back in Ohio there was, you heard of Meijer, right? I'm not sure if they have them down here. I haven't seen them.
No, I haven't.
There's a store called Meijer. It's apparently more in the north area. Mm-hmm. It's like a grocery store, just like any other ones. But near the registers, and every single one I've ever been in, there's always been like an automatic, just like a horse for your like kids to ride. Mm-hmm. And they were always like the most expensive ones I've ever seen. I'm like, why? And then of course I rode it multiple times. I remember there was two, because there was two doors into the building, and one by one was a brown one, the other one was a pink one, and I'm like, I can't choose which one I want. And then I couldn't decide, and then I never got to ride them at that time. Like, I got better decide ahead of time next time.
All right, so anyways, back to this guy that bought a bunch of rice.
Yeah, so he bought a bunch of rice. Shortly after he signed the paperwork to buy the shipment, 2 more ships of rice came from Peru, causing the cost of rice to plummet to 3 cents per pound.
Oh.
So he bought it for 12 cents, and then right after he signed the paperwork, 2 more ships came in and caused the rice to go down to 3 cents per pound.
All right.
Shortly after, he ended up suing the guy who gave him the information, and he ended up, after a very long, costly court battle, he lost. And so he lost all of the money from the shipment, he lost the money from the court case. He had to end up filing for bankruptcy.
Okay.
And he didn't ever do anything crazy. Ever. I promise. He did nothing.
I think you're lying to me. I don't think this story's true. I think this has a bit more to it, doesn't it? Yeah.
In 1859, the a bunch of San Francisco newspapers had letters sent to them asking them to put the said letter into the newspapers.
Okay.
Apparently it was a very slow news week because they did. They put the entire letter in there. And I'm going to read at least a portion of this, if not the entire little segment of what it said.
Okay.
It's a lot of big words. Hopefully I don't stumble through this, which I'm probably going to. At the a third word in, I'm already messing it up. At the request and desire of a large majority of the citizens of the United States, I, Joshua Norton, formerly of Agola Bay, Cape of Good Hope, and now for the past 9 years and 10 months of San Francisco, California, declare and proclaim myself Emperor of these United States, and in virtue with the authority thereby to be vested, hereby do order and direct the representatives of the different states of the Union to assemble in Musical Hall of this city on the first day of February next, then, and there to make such alterations to the existing laws of the Union, as many evils under which the country is laboring, and thereby cause confidence to exist both at home and abroad, and our stability and integrity. So he had a bunch of newspapers print that he was declaring himself as the Emperor of the United States. Yes. He also later added the Protector of Mexico to his title.
And this is in 59, you said? 1959, you said?
1859.
1859, so even older.
Yeah, very old. And with that letter, it began his 21-year reign, quote-unquote, over the United States as emperor. During this time, he had a lot of proclamations, either through the letters he sent through the newspapers or through meetings that he held, or sometimes he would just gather on the corners of streets and have people gather around him, and he just made proclamations to them.
Hopefully he carried around a soapbox with him so he could stand on it. It's like a big soapbox.
I didn't write this down because I didn't find a place to put it, but what he dressed in was fantastic. It was a combination, because this was shortly after the Civil War. So he had both wearing Confederate and Union garb, maxed together. Mm-hmm. He carried around a cane for walking purposes, also to iterate some of his points. And the big thing was a big hat with a large feather in the front of it.
Honestly, when you said big hat, I thought of the foam cowboy hats they sell, like those big foam cowboy hats. I thought of that.
I'm the Emperor of these United States. Look at my big orange hat. I found around a truck stop.
I used to go to an indie wrestling event where they had a guy who had a big green cowboy hat, and he wore it out once because he made a joke about being like the sheriff around town. He used the law, and then and then he kept wearing it when he came out. It's like, okay, the joke the first time was great. It's like, stop wearing that hat. It was getting to the point where it was, because the shows are monthly, so they were hat was getting slowly destroyed over time.
Oof.
It's like either that or go buy another hat. You go get another one.
Yeah. So during these proclamations that he had, he abolished the U.S. Congress, and when that didn't work, he summoned the army to dispose of the elected officials in the Congress.
That didn't work.
He's like, all right, you don't want to leave your job? Fine. The army's going to get you now. He issued a mandate to the Roman Catholic and the Protestant churches to publicly ordain him as emperor, which neither one of them did. He declared an abolishment of the Republic and Democratic parties. So some of these things are a bit, extreme.
Just a little. Nothing that you wouldn't do, right?
But let's get a little more tame. He didn't like it when people disrespected the city of San Francisco, so he made it a high misdemeanor whenever someone referred to it as Frisco. They'd be fined $25.
Fuck San Francisco.
Oh, by the way, $25 is in today money is $530.
Fuck San Francisco. I didn't stutter. I'll pay the fine.
Some of his decrees were insane.
I'll make the check out to fuck San Francisco.
Some of his decrees were insane like that. Others were kind of profound. He had instructions of how they needed to make a League of Nations years before they actually made one.
Okay.
He forbade conflicts between different regions. He was super against war, and he called for a suspension bridge to be built from Oakland to San Francisco.
Okay.
Way before it was actually built. And because of that, he is actually currently a ongoing protest to change the name of the bridge to the Emperor Norton Bridge.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Norton wouldn't stop at newspaper sections. Yeah, talk about I went to street corners. We would do it. Along with that, he kind of also wrote letters to world leaders, and sometimes they would write back. Norton managed to get real international contacts
to write back to him.
He met with the real Emperor Pedro II of Brazil.
You know that reminds me. You know what that reminds me of? Did you remember? I can't remember which person it was, but it was a foreign leader. He wrote on Twitter or something like that how proud he was about a plane landing safely, one that lost its engines or something like that. Later to find out it was a video from GTA 5. Yep.
It's very similar to that kind of, because not only did he met with the real Emperor Pedro II of Brazil, but the real King Kamehameha of Hawaii, before it became a state. He also made contacts with him. And near the end of King Kamehameha's life, he refused to deal with actual U.S. representatives.
It's only him.
To only Norton.
That's hilarious.
The
worst
Norton
part
was a hit among... What was...
At that point, what do you do?
Yeah,
you have to call him at that point. Because we didn't have Hawaii at that moment.
Yeah, they have to cut contact with him. All right, Norton, you're cool and all, but this has got to stop. You're ruining our contacts with actual foreign nations right now. We get you want to wear your fancy hat and to stop people from fighting or whatever, but hear me out. You met with an emperor, a real one.
He should have ran for president. He should have been emperor president.
He should have. Because Norton was a hit. Because he probably would have been voted because he was very popular in California. He was a constant visitor, churches, performances, and any sort of gathering that they public gathering. He always went to them. Local restaurants started selling Emperor Norton merchandise, which you're wondering he got percentage of everything that was sold. Mm-hmm. He was a walking tourist attraction. He had his own box seat at theaters, restaurants, and shops gave him free meals and clothing to say that, hey, we outfitted the emperor. The city gave him a free rail pass so he could travel around the city at no charge.
They really liked this guy. They really liked it. He could at least been governor or the mayor of somewhere.
He had it. He printed his own currency that establishments accepted. There was a fake, it was huge, by the way. It was the note, but it was a picture of a picture of him with his. Also, he carried around a sword. A picture of him and his sword. Forgot to mention his sword. They would just accept, the restaurants would accept this note as actual money. It was insane. But not everyone was a fan of Norton.
I imagine.
Norton was arrested for vagrancy, and later charged with lunacy.
What's vagrancy?
By a police officer.
What's vagrancy? I don't know what vagrancy is. Even when we're not together, I can hear
homeless.
You typing on that laptop.
Vagrancy means homeless.
Oh, okay.
Because they thought he was homeless because he was dressed in like matched clothing and
well, I guess he probably wasn't because he could go anywhere he wanted to. Really. Are you really homeless when you can just live anywhere you want because people like you that much?
I mean, this police officer arrested him for because he thought he was homeless, and then after he talked to Norton for a bit, he thought he was insane and charged him with lunacy, which was a crime back then.
Depending on who you talk to now, it might be still one.
I don't know, man. According to after he was arrested, like local papers started writing scathing articles about the officer, and during his hearing, like a bunch of outraged citizens poured into the courtroom and protested. This got so out of hand. The police chief released Norton, and then released an official apology on behalf of the entire police force. He also made it so whenever an officer saw Norton, they had to salute him.
They made him that important, eh?
Yeah, it was he became like in a weird way. It's a perfect example of people don't have power until you give them the power. True. Right?
Well, he earned it. He took it. He took his power.
Yeah, but the newspapers could have not printed the letter.
True.
None of this would have happened. The people couldn't.
Nah, he would have found a way.
No, he's just some crazy dude. They wouldn't pay attention to him.
Stubborn. He seems like he'd be somebody who would want to go in and make himself some ruler, even if it wasn't like for all of like the state. He would have been like the ruler of like a small community. They would have been known as Norton Avenue or something like that, like something really small.
Yeah. So in the 1870s, this little side thing, the market had plummeted and like out of control, and a lot of people lost their jobs. Mm-hmm. A large group of Americans blamed Chinese immigrants for them losing their jobs.
Okay.
In 1875, a large group of these Americans cornered a group of Chinese immigrants on the street of San Francisco.
Okay.
Like they were coming at them like very violently.
Okay.
Before they could lay any hands on the immigrants, Emperor Norton stepped between the two groups. He lowered his head and just started saying out loud the Lord's Prayer.
All right.
And started like yelling scripture at them. He keeps quoting the Bible for a while and a couple of minutes until the crowd disperses and without any injuries. That is a real thing that happened.
That's lucky.
People liked Norton so much when he was like, "No, this is not how we deal with things." They're like, "Okay, let's believe the emperor," and they just left.
We need him here today.
Yeah,
I say we're kind of running into that same issue recently.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, so on December 8th, 1980.
You said 19?
I think it was January 8th. I wrote that down wrong. It was January 8th, 1980.
Okay.
Emperor Joshua Norton collapsed on his walk to a lecture.
Okay.
He died before transportation arrived.
Damn.
A bunch of local bars and businessmen paid for him to have a proper funeral. And 2 days later, a group of over 30,000 people came to the ceremony.
Damn. How old was he?
The very next...
How old would that be?
He was...
If it's 1980.
He was born in 1918.
Shit.
So he was approaching 62.
1980, 19... Nah, it's older than 62, I think.
I think it was just before 62nd birthday, so 61.
1980 minus 1918. 62.
18. Yeah. I think it was like a couple days, because he died, 1 month before his birthday, so it had been 61.
Oh, that sucks.
The next day after he was buried, there was a total
he rose
eclipse.
From the grave. He came back.
He's like, I don't like how you people... I went from emperor to God. The next day, there was a total eclipse over the city.
Creepy. Was it planned?
Yeah. No, the eclipse is when the moon goes in front of the sun.
I know.
Dude.
I know what that is. I mean, like, did they know an eclipse was coming, or is it one of those things like, oh, this is creepy now?
Because he
like
died.
How good was the
3 days later? Yeah, it's just luck that
okay.
3 days later after he died, there was an eclipse. So it's kind of like weird thinking that, I don't know, this man just became an emperor because he chose to. And everyone just kind of accepted it. Ah, man. Do you think anybody could get away with this today?
Yep. Most definitely. Bryce, I bet you if you try like, hard enough right now, we can rule Orlando. There's no one to stop us. Everybody's inside their house.
True. We could do this
right now.
The question is,
we need a chariot and a bunch of.
We need to get a big enough voice.
That too.
Because during this time, newspaper was huge, right?
To the internet.
So by print. Yeah, but in the internet, there's so much being uploaded to the internet right now that it would just kind of get lost in the fodder, wouldn't it? We'd have to find a way to get a voice out there.
Radio. We go old school. We go radio.
I think if there's like, because they're doing a lot of presentations right now. Not presentations, but like
a TED talk.
A lot of
Are we gonna do a TED talk?
A lot of governors and stuff are talking at podiums right now.
You want to run for office? Are you running for office, Bryce?
I might, but I saw before we came in here to record, they were like, so they were supposed to do this thing at like 5, but they pushed it back to 5:30. So they still had the camera on like the empty podium with empty chairs in front of it.
You're gonna try
this is the perfect opportunity
on a podium
for me to walk up there. Hello, it's me, the Emperor of the United States.
You will be tackled immediately. You will be tackled.
See, the thing is, man, if people run up there, they'd be tackled. Yeah. If you just walk up there like you're supposed to go up there, nobody's going to bother.
You better have a nice suit on. You're not walking up in a t-shirt.
I want to walk up there
jeans.
in Union and Confederate garb.
You will really
with a big feather hat.
You might not be tackled. You might have somebody throw something at you.
It's Union and Confederate. It's the two sides coming together.
They're not going to notice that. They're going to notice only one side. And you live in the South.
It's blue and gray.
So it might be it might be the blue one that sets them off.
Oh God. So yeah, that's all I have for the Emperor of the United States. It's a weird story. I mean, I think it's the only time we've ever had a not president kind of claim himself to be president, and everyone kind of accepted it.
And then he got to talk with the guy who runs Hawaii.
Yeah. Who else got to do that? No one now. He's super dead.
Bryce, I ever tell you... Okay, heads up, because me and Bryce both live in Florida. Everybody knows this.
Ah, shocker.
Did you went to... If anybody doesn't know what is, it's a college university thing that's around here. You went there, right?
Yeah.
I never went. I did a tour of the thing, and they had like a thing where they had like a Hall of Fame ceremony or something like that. They were doing some award ceremony, and I got to go and watch part of the tour. Before it started, I went and used the bathroom. I'm like, I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. I couldn't get the sink in the bathroom to work because I thought it was an automatic sink, and I'm like, how does this? Because I didn't see how it worked. Some guy helped me turn the sink on. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. It was the fucking president of the school thing. He walked, they introduced him. I'm like, hey, that's the guy from the bathroom. I can't go here. He knows I'm a fucking idiot because I can't even work a sink.
That's my bathroom buddy.
Yeah, literally. That's how I was. He walked up, they introduced like, oh, coming down. I don't remember what his, I guess, would it be the dean?
His name was Gary.
The dean or the, I guess?
He had the title of president.
Thank you.
When I was there.
Yeah. When they introduced him, I'm like, hey, I know that guy. He helped me turn the sink on in the bathroom.
Yeah, he's known for being very chill.
Yeah, he was
people out in the bathroom.
Nice.
More specifically, that second part.
Nice. He was a nice guy. When I got to talk to him, he was a very nice guy. Immediately went, can't stay here. Nope. If I can't work the sinks, nope. I used to, along with going there to learn school,
I also did a job.
You
I
did the
was a
tours.
tour guide.
You were also a tour.
Yeah.
I never had you. You didn't. I didn't have you as my tour guide.
Yeah, you went before I started, I believe, because you're a bit older than me.
Yeah.
So during I think it was during one of my tour guide things, he showed up to one of the talks he had to do or whatever, and he showed up in like a golf cart and he drove up and he stopped and like he got out and he like looked over me, he's like waving at everybody because he's kind of like a low key celebrity for some reason at the school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but he was like talking to a couple of us, and I made the joke, I'm like, hey, you're gonna give me a ride in that golf cart later? He was like, yeah, totally. And then he never did. He still owes me a golf cart ride.
Well, when you go back for your
I know it's been several years, but I still owed one.
When you go back for your 10-year anniversary, you can ask him for it.
God, I'm gonna take a hard pass on that.
Wow, you don't want to go you don't go see all your old friends from your college days?
I still talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Sure you do.
Cody is from my college.
You talk to one. Some
more than one sometimes.
No,
I messaged some other ones. Anyways.
You want to hear something funny speaking about that? I got on
sure.
I got on Xbox the other day. And there's people I always play with. His name's James. I haven't talked to him in months. It's been months. And I kept pissing him off because I would start talking. I'm like, so Bryce, so what do you think about? I'm like, oh wait, you're not Bryce. I gotta. And literally, he got to the point where he would stop and go, so I'm Bryce again, eh? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I call you that sometimes, right?
Oh God, I'm very lucky that my vernacular is very generic for most people. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to saying, like, hey, how's it going, man? Because I don't remember their name.
If I say that's the thing. If I remember somebody's name, I'll try and say it. But I'm so used to talking to you specifically that I ended up saying that because y'all pretty much, at least in my head, you both sound the same. So at least over like microphones.
We're the same person, actually.
It wouldn't surprise me.
All along, Derek, I've been following you through your entire life.
You're just a really long catfish game.
It's the weirdest game of catfish ever. I just want to be your friend.
Bryce, you know what I just realized I can do?
What?
I can see the timer. I know how long we've been going now.
Yeah. It's been a good amount. I think it's time for our second segment. What do you think?
32 minutes, 40, soon to be 50 seconds right now.
Watch, I'm going to edit something out. It's going to change that.
No, it won't. It actually will because we have a few seconds ahead of. We had to do a clap track or whatever Bryce calls it.
Because I'm gonna start with me talking about the Titanic.
Mm.
Hey Derek, do you want to do some time of fucked ups?
Sure, if you want to. I have no choice. I can't read anything. Everything's over there. I just have to listen at this point.
So, those of you who don't know what time I fucked up is, I go to the TIFU subreddit. The TIFU subreddit is a today I fucked up, but I usually grab them from wherever I want. So it's just general stories of times these people have fucked up. I grab them from more recent ones. I grab them from like wherever I want. So you'll have a fun little segment where we read these stories, and I just talk to Derek about what he thinks, like what he would do in the situation. Hey Derek, you want me to start the first one? You want to do anything first?
Nah, you can start.
All right. So this is in perspective of the person writing this, not me, by the way. So I'm a junior in college now. I was a sophomore when this happened. And I worked for a club on campus that raises money for a charity that gives money to families and children with cancer to ease the financial burden of things like hospital bills and hotel rooms and for treatment and stuff like that. At the end of the year, we threw a 10-hour-long concert, which usually involves a lot of student DJs doing quick sets to pass the time. Anyways, we needed someone to fill in for a half-hour set, so I thought, why not? And plugged in my laptop and ran some cheap DJ software and played some pop music off a playlist. All is well, right? Well, it turns out, all is not well. I was unknowing playing Die Young by Kesha, which contains lyrics, let's make the most of the night, like we're gonna die young, we're gonna die young, we're gonna die young. Not long after, I got a text from my friend, and the conversation was something like this. Dude, change the song. Question marks. You're playing Die Young. And the kids are here. Oh, fuck. I look around, and everyone is staring at me, thinking it's some cruel joke because all the patients we sponsor are at the event. It quickly changed to I got a feeling, and all is well. Luckily, none of the kids were listening too closely, and I didn't get upset. I got stern talking to by the club advisors, but they ended up letting me go because they couldn't prove I played the song on purpose. At the end, we raised $121,000, so silver linings, right? So, for a bunch of kids who were dying of cancer, they played the song Die Young by Kesha. Oh, God. So if you were in the situation, Derek, if you're like, hey, we have this charity event, we just need some people to play some as a DJ for a little bit. I'm
playing Let the Bodies Hit the Floor immediately. All of them. Every last song.
Let's change the question I was going to ask to this now. What are other songs that would be just as bad than Die Young or The Bodies Hit the Floor?
Highway to Hell.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe.
My first... God, this is a tough question now. I raised it, I can't even answer it myself.
So I had that one song planned and that was it. Down with the Sickness.
Down with the Sickness.
Yeah.
That's a bad one.
Pretty much if you can find like a metal or like a hard rock song, it'll probably work.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Anything by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, I was about to say Ring of Fire, but you just said that. Oh, gosh. And going to the next one?
Sure.
I stayed the night at my boyfriend's dorm, and so we're both crammed on his shitty dorm mattress. The night went very peacefully. In the morning I woke up, stood up and stretched, and headed out to the kitchen. Grabbed a glass of water and chugged it, and then checked my period tracker app. The app said I was a couple days late, so I decided to take a pregnancy test.
All right.
Went to the bathroom, opened up the test, sat down, and began to take it. When I looked at the test, the screen was completely distorted. I couldn't read it if it was positive or not, so I decided to try another one. I opened the new test, sit down, miraculously, and have a little more pee in me. I pee like a madman. It's just flowing out of me onto the stick.
Okay.
It seems never ending. Then it stops. And I wake up. In my boyfriend's tiny bed. With him sleeping soundly right next to me. A puddle of my piss is spread across the mattress like wildfire. It was on his sheets, comforter, and his shirt I was wearing. Luckily, I was able to wake him up and get him to move before it reached him. The level of embarrassment I felt was insane. I took the sheets off, cleaned them, and didn't have any change of clothes, so I had to put on yesterday's dirty clothes and sit in shame. He's been cracking bedwetter jokes all day, and I truly feel like I'll never live this down.
I like the one about the DJ better. Have
you ever had very vivid dreams you thought were real?
I have. I remember I wanted to talk to you about that, actually. I wanted to do a segment where we were talking about weird dreams.
We could totally still do that.
I once had one where we have a friend who, well, he doesn't work with us anymore. Remember Roberto?
Yeah.
I had a nightmare that his kids cut my feet off at the ankles. Yeah. Weird.
Have you talked to him about this?
Nope.
You're like, I'm scared of your kids.
Nope, not at all. There's a lot more to that story of stuff leading up to it, like why I had my shoes off in the first place, but that was the thing that woke me up, was me realizing my feet were no longer attached to me, and I went, oh God, and I sat up.
I actually had a dream last night. I don't remember my dreams very often, but there's a reason I remember this one, because I woke up and I had a Google search on my phone. Then I'm like, Oh yeah, I actually woke up and Google searched something because I searched what's the smallest. I think the search was smallest breed of alligator because I wanted to see like what was like
the smallest.
Because I had a dream that like I was like working in a mall, a store in a mall or something, and I was the only one in there. And I was trying to like, do my job or whatever, and like nobody was coming inside. I couldn't figure it out, and I went outside and realized an alligator gave birth, and their eggs like hatched outside the door, and nobody wanted to come in. So I remember like those are really small alligators. I wonder what's the smallest breed. Turns the smallest breed of alligator is 4 feet long.
That's
the ones I dreamt were a lot smaller than that.
About to say, yeah, the 4 feet is pretty long. That's not short at all. That's a little shorter than me.
Yeah.
You probably have baby alligators. Yeah, those ones.
The baby alligators were the ones with the hatched eggs. I don't know. It was a dream. It wasn't real. There's no points to it. I don't work in a mall.
I want to say the most recent one that I had. This was a few days ago. I had one where I was like playing baseball, but not like a game. Like I was just like somebody was pitching and I was just hitting it. Oops, I hit the mic. Yeah. Speaking about hitting stuff. And it was like an animatronic dog that was like on like the baseball diamond, and every time I hit it, like if it was like a home run, the dog would go get the ball, but like it'd be like I'd hit it across town, so the dog would run in a straight line, destroying everything in its path, like a cartoon kind of deal, and pick the ball up and then run it all the way back, but not in the same direction, so it would cause even more destruction, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. And I was like, that seems like a really...
So that was just a dream you had?
Yeah.
That actually sounds like a fun game.
It does. It seems like something that, like, if you made it a video game, it'd be really cool.
Yeah. Because when you said that, my first thought was backyard baseball. I do a home run.
I love backyard baseball.
And backyard baseball, at least the one I used to play, you could do a home run derby, and they would have a robot tossing balls so you can hit them. My first thought was that, and there's like a dog next to it. I'm like, all right, hit the ball, home run. It went through the stadium. Oh god, it's destroying everything.
Exactly, like it would just run through. I still own. There's a old school like video game store. I think it's closed now, down from where I used to live. And they had backyard baseball, like the original one for the computer. And I have that still. It's sitting right here to my left. I can play that right now if I want to. And I think I might once we get done recording this. That seems like a good idea.
We record another episode and you just quietly playing it in the background. You quietly, and you're like, I couldn't remember the name of his character. He was, God damn it, Pablo, run faster.
Oh, he was the best character. You talking about the little Spanish guy with the baseball cap?
Yeah, but he wasn't super fast. He could hit really good, but he wasn't fast.
But he doesn't need to because he get home runs.
Yeah, and he always had the weird shaped bat.
Yeah.
Anyways, want to go into the last time I fucked up that I have?
Sure, why not?
This one actually is more... Those ones could happen at any point in time, the last two. This one's kind of more relevant.
Okay.
I'm going to read word for word from the very beginning. Long story short, I've been getting really bored in isolation. I'm sure many of you have. I know this is an excuse, but because of the fact I started drinking a lot more regularly than usual. About 4 hours ago, I had a bit too much of my stockpiled alcohol to the point where I started getting staticky vision. At this point, I noticed a spider on the top left-hand corner of one of my front windows. During my then motivated state, I decided that trapping and freeing the spider from my room would be a good idea. Now, I'm not the tallest guy in the world, so my infinite drunk wisdom, I decided to stand on my revolving chair, which with reels would be the best option for me reaching the arachnid. Because the spider was within the crevice of my window frame, I had to leave my window open to get it. You can probably see where this is going. As I reached for the spider, I completely lost my footing on the chair and fell face first out my second-story window. I was lucky enough to grab the window frame, so as I did so and oriented myself feet first before I landed. I had tried to decrease my momentum as much as possible by rolling when I hit the ground, but unfortunately my right foot still felt most of the impact. I am now currently laying in bed with a swollen foot resting up on ice.
Well, now he can't go anywhere, even if he could.
Now you're just... This is forced isolation by you now.
Exactly.
You didn't... Oh, gosh. Have you ever almost fallen from a very high height like that?
I probably have that I don't remember. Because I tend to stay close to the ground if I can. I know you have. You've fallen a couple of times in front of me. Like, period.
Yeah.
When you're short, you don't like being up high.
I just fall. Because I have just, like, gangly legs. I can't think of... I've never fallen from, like, a very high height. I've fallen back in chairs. I've stumbled in front of you. I never actually, like, had, like, a major fall. And I'm just knock on my wood desk. I have not, had a major injury from any sort of, like, falling thing. So I've had injuries from falling from my standing position. That was bad.
I think, I can't think of anything falling off of anything really tall. Maybe like, back when you were younger, you had to go up those little steps to get to the slide. Those old school metal slides.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like the tallest. Which when you're a kid, that's probably pretty tall. But other than that, I can't think of anything. Like I've never been like on a roof.
I haven't done it myself. I've seen my sister fall off the top of a cabinet and break her tailbone.
Shit.
Yeah, it was.
We don't have tails anyways. What's the point?
I don't know why it's called a tailbone. We don't have tails, and there's no bones in tails anyways. Oh my god. Yeah, it was not a fun time. Like you would probably think from anyone breaking their tailbone, it wasn't the most fun thing in the world.
I imagine it makes it really hard to use the bathroom at that point. Like, because you have to sit on it. You still have to sit on it at that point. Or you have to,
I feel like I've actually told this story on the podcast, but I think I want to actually talk to her and hear more about what happened afterwards. Because I watched it happen. I was there when it happened. I don't remember anything after that,
Bryce
and then she was fine.
He didn't help at all.
She was 4 years older than me. I was probably like 8 at the time.
No excuses.
No excuses.
No excuses.
I have plenty excuses. Oh, God. Do you have anything else you want to add before I start wrapping things up?
Nah, we should wrap this up. My back's starting to hurt.
All right, old man.
Sorry,
I'm
leaned over in a chair. This is not a good setup.
You're when you're over here, you're leaned over in a chair too.
And my back hurts.
All right, shout out to Young Walnut for letting us use his music for our intro and outro. You can find him on YouTube and SoundCloud. He's awesome. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at DYHAT Podcast. It's DYHAT Podcast. You can also email us at diehatpodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us or email us different stories you want us to cover. If we talked about something you don't want us to cover, or we haven't covered before, you want us to talk about, or if we made mistakes you want to correct us, that's a good opportunity to do that too.
This is a jumbled mess.
I'm a jumbled mess.
Yeah.
That's whenever I go through that, I've always done it enough. I feel like I can do it without like looking through a list of what to say. Mm-hmm. But every time I do it, I feel like I say it differently every time, like without fail.
Different.
Yeah.
Ah. Sorry, I'm still messing. I'm messing with the bar again.
Hey, Derek.
Hey.
Did you hear about this?
Probably not.
Did you hear about fire hydrants?
I think I know. Those red things in the ground, right?
Yeah, the red things on the ground that dogs like to pee on. Yeah, those things. Did you know that the origin of the fire hydrant is unknown?
I could believe that. That seems like something somebody wouldn't keep records of.
Well, they keep records of every other thing. And in fact, they did have records of this.
Oh, okay.
But the patent for the fire hydrant burned in a fire.
That's funny.
Oh, God.
Back up in Maryland where I used to live, there's an area where they didn't have red fire hydrants. They were all like, either they were painted different colors, like people did like artwork on them, or they were gold, like painted like a horrible like gold paint for some reason.
Why are they gold?
I have no clue, but it always made me laugh.
Did you charge people to use them? I'm sorry. You're too poor to use the gold one.
This is a man.
You have that puddle over there.
He's on fire. He's like, help me, please. That'll be $100 per ounce.
I'll give you a water sprints with this hand sprinter instead.
I can't afford that. Like, okay, well, you get the cheaper option. It's $10. You do that, he just spits on you.
I'll put the water in my mouth and just spit it toward you. I'm not going to aim, though. Do you have anything to add before we get out of here? Give a little advice to the people who are in isolation right now?
Probably not. Not anything that won't get me in trouble.